So I see that we are live.
We are live, but the
I
YouTube
don't
is
know.
not updating. So yeah, we are. Okay, good
It
stuff.
takes some time, there's
Yeah,
a delay.
good. So hi everyone. I'm Leonardo Lima, and I'd like to welcome you to another session of. Oh, sorry about that. I was on mute here. Okay, so let's restart. Hi everyone. I'm Leonardo Lima, and I'd like to welcome you to another session of the J Champions Conference 2022. Today, you'll learn effective Java SE through 16, even a bit of 17, to make your life as easier as a developer. My fellow Java champion that will present this amazing topic is Mohamed Taman. He's a Java champion, an Oracle ace, Jakarta EE ambassador, and a JCP member. Everything you can be related to Java. He's the chief
Same
solution
like you, man.
architect. Yeah. He's the chief solution architect at Effortel Belgium in his day-to-day job. Mohammed will take questions at the end, but please feel free to fire them in the chat as he will revisit them when we finish the presentation. Mohammed, have a great session.
Thank you, Leo. It's a pleasure to have you as well as my moderator as a great
Thank
Java
you.
champion. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And hi, everyone. I'm very happy to have you here in this second biggest conference for Java champion, from Java champion to the Java community. And I wish that you had some good talks as it should be, and you would get benefit from this one. So today I would like just to wrap up what is the most features that Java has introduced since its appearance and change from Java SE 9 through 16. Definitely, I'm going to speak about some different topics, like from JVM to Java language feature to API and tools that can affect your day-to-day job. And even myself, I'm using it, and how I did that to migrate also my team to use Java 17 recently in our new microservices or project that we have to have in our telecommunication farm using different components. So I don't need to introduce myself anymore because Leo has introduced me very well. So thank you for this. So, but by the way, I'm Egyptian. I live in Serbia, but now I'm giving the session from Sofia, Bulgaria. So it's just different places. Where is my team and my work offices? So you can always, I write about this kind of content also in deep details. And you can find also my writings on Java Magazine mainly. And I write also for Oracle Magazine, InfoQ, and IBM Developer. You can find, and those are some of my application. So I would be pleasure if you'd like to have them. You can catch me in any social media, and Twitter. You can have me ask me about anything and just Google my name and you will find all these links and they will come back to it. Let's go into our topic, which is much more important. And just to have a little bit history about Java, as you know, quickly. Because it was before, long time, we have this kind of like Java each like 3 to 4 years. And you can see the timeline since Java 6 to 7 to 8. We all mostly spend, and Java is one of the biggest and robust language worldwide and the oldest one as well. And very popular in many, different industries. So it was like very hard to change this language to cope with modern stuff that we are hearing about and deploying our architecture and infrastructure, the new everything that we have from microservices to monoliths to whatever it is, and deploying this kind of stuff on cloud computing or on-prem or integration or everything. So it was a hard decision, but it was like it came with a price. Because now, since Java 9, we have the 6 months release cadence, as I'm talking about that. So it was so successful to go from Java 9 to Java 17 second LTS that we have since last September. And now we are approaching the next feature release, which will be Java 18, which will have more features, enhancement, memory enhancement, and introduce a lot of things that we get benefit from: performance, language enhancement, JVM tools, and features, garbage collection, a lot of garbage collection. We are going to talk about this, so it's super nice. One of the biggest changes that we have is the modularity, as you know. The modularity just introduced through Jigsaw product, and it's about that it introduced for us like more encapsulation, and because always we as a GDK developers or Oracle engineers about the GDK, we need to maintain our internal libraries that is used by internal APIs and tools by the GVM, not to be exposed outside, but in order to package to have been used from different packages, it should be all the classes and everything is public. But how can I prevent this public from being exposed outside? So the module come into play to do this encapsulation. So public is not public anymore. And this has also allowed us to have scaled down runtime jars. So that will benefit from the same GDK. We will have runtime for IoT, for microservices, for embedded devices on the cloud itself. And we have seen this in recent version from Java 17 when we have more different ports for that we can have based on the operating system. And also it allows to stronger, as I told you, encapsulation. So public is no longer public to others unless I explicitly provided that in the module info. So this is a stronger encapsulation. Now I can really maintain my classes that meant to use only by the internal Java GVM language tools and APIs, and not allow it to be exposed to outside wallet to be used from different tools or library maintainers or anything, with providing alternative solution for that. And you can read more about this on, those are linkable. I'm gonna share this presentation with you, and whenever you find the JIP, it's linkable as well. So I don't have to repeat that. The project Jigsaw goal was like to modularize, and you can see this effect that we have reduced even the size of the GDK itself, and also modularize the project. And when any different project came to the GDK as a module, not one source file as before, which cannot be scaled. Now it's much more scalable, and also modularize Java source code. And this is allow us to modularize runtime images that we are creating, and also encapsulate Java internal APIs, because now they are separate modules, and we are exposing only to other modules what need to be used from those modules. And lastly, we have Java Platform Module System, which is allow us as a maintainers or author of the APIs to have our own module to integrate with this system to build our applications. And I would like just to mention that project, if you would like to migrate to Java 17 or whatever the version you would like to migrate, it's not mandatory to use modularization. It's out there for specific use cases. So ClassPass and the class loader still exist, and we can use it normally, and you just need to migrate to make sure that you are not using something is deprecated or removed, actually, because we start to remove, we're going to talk about this, and use some tools I'm going to mention now if I would like to migrate. So to list all the built-in modules that we have, you can use java-list modules. You will know what modules that you have used. If you'd like to see, okay, what is the dependencies on internal JDK APIs from my application that I shouldn't use, and what is the alternatives, you can use the tool GDEPS with the flag JDK internals and your application. Also, if you would like to learn about deprecation, what is deprecation, what is market for removal or deprecation in the future, you can use JDepreScan with your source code or the application jar that you are developed. And here is a link that you can see how we can do the migration properly from Java 8 to whatever the version it is. So as I told you, the new 6 release cadence and LTS, they are very related to each other. I would like just to mention that between LTSs, we have feature releases. Feature releases meant to give you opportunity to migrate, but don't rely on it because the support ends when the next release comes to production. And only the supported GDK is the LTS. So if we're talking about the new releases, we have Java 11, which is still supported by the companies and even by Oracle, and also what is the next LTS now currently in Java 17. And this is very important. So what about Java 16, for example? Java 16, the support is dropped since Java 17 is already here. Why? Because it's a feature release. It just, giving you features. We are trying some features, which is preview or incubator modules or whatever it is. Then you can use them and you prepare your code for migration for the next LTS. This is very important to understand where is the support goes. So it means that the support for release feature is only 6 months since its release, and the support for LTS now it's the same. It goes for 3 releases and 1 year and 2 more years behind the next LTS. So you have also time to migrate from LTS to LTS. And the long-term support, we have changed the decision, which is the Oracle decided to release JDK as a LTS every and each 2 years, not 3 years as a before. So we have the opportunity for our companies to migrate to Java faster than before. So this was like before Java 17, it was the plan to have LTS each 3 years as a plan before. And as you have seen between Java 11 and 17. And now the expected next LTS will be after just 2 years. And this is a new important update. And if you are migrating from Java 8 to Java 9 or 10 or, there is nothing has been deleted. We are trying to deprecate as usual. You have deprecated library and they are still exist inside the JDK. But since Java 11, actually, you have to be careful which library you have used, like XML binding, like JavaFX. We have removed all of this. So if you have a code relies on these libraries, you have to see alternatives. And also we start to remove APIs, and it goes dramatically for each version. So when you read the Java documentation now, actually, and on Oracle website, or general documentation for the new release from different companies like Amazon Corito or Azul or wherever it is, you will find always a section says what has been removed from the JDK, what has been deprecated, and what is the changes even between the APIs. This is a very nice new section in Java documentation. So you are aware what is the new addition for the API and what's the changes also from the different version. And I like that in the JDK beside the search mechanism that we have. So Java 11 is the starting, of the cleaner for the Java jungle. So we have more robust and all the obsolete and not supported API that doesn't have to exist anymore inside the JDK. And we have heard before that Java is commercially licensed, but Java is still free for use. If you like to have the flavor of Oracle, for example, you can use it on your lab for labs, for education, for anything. Just only if you'd like to use it for commercial, you have to know the license behind that. And if you'd like to use different flavors, you can use OpenJDK. Definitely, it's for free, and this is the main fork that each company take from, and it's actually maintained by Oracle engineers until the release, and they fork their Oracle release and provide the support for that. Same happens for Amazon, same happens for Microsoft recently. They have their own JDK, and also for Azul, for Alibaba, for SAP, whatever, there is a bunch of providers for JDK. It's not one, and you have different flavors and support modules. And you can read about this in this link. Let's move for the first time, starting from Java 11, we start to introduce something really nice and that make Java more sexier, to be honest. How it's sexier, like, yeah, I have the ability to try the features without they become even in production state. They are like, okay, we have thought like, it's very nice to not just announce and collect the feedback verbally. And no, it's nice to give you features that with a flag that you can enable them, use them, give the feedback if you would like. OpenJDK, the JDK now is on GitHub. You can fill bugs, you can fill, whatever feedback you would like, and it will have definitely, opportunity to look at these kind of comments and everything, and you give better insight for the engineers what you are looking for in your language to make use of it. So this is why we have preview language features. So it's different by code, and you have to use the flag because it's not completed yet. It might change in the future. It might removed at all, or it will be stable version in the next, and you can use it without this flag. This is why it's a preview language feature. When it comes to APIs, it will be incubator module. So this is something that you have to be aware of, because if you have a lab and you're trying the features and prepare for like switch pattern matching or sealed classes, which has been standardized in Java 17, or the extension of the pattern matching with sealed classes, with all of this kind of stuff, yeah, it's nice to prepare and use the switch flag, and your code is ready for the migration for the new version and making use of the new features of the language. This is very important. So those was like introduction. So our agenda here, what we would like to know, what's new in the Java language as a language itself, and also let's explore the new language features, and behind also what did the new API and improvement happens to API, which is very important to us, not everything because it's huge changes, and also which APIs we have to farewell for that, or to have to say goodbye forever, because when we migrate we have to know, and also we have to know about some tools that has been open sourced that help us in many things like profiling, like benchmarking and this stuff. So let's jump in to not waste more time. And one thing that I would love to mention, there is no more GRE out there. So like someone could ask me like, man, how could I run my Java? Why I have to download all the GDK? I told you in the beginning that we can do, and because of modularization, we can create our own GRE. This is very important point. Why? Because my application might use just only 2 modules from the GDK, and I don't have to have all the others modules. And we have this with the tool called glink. And GRE installation package is gone since Java 11. You have to be aware of this. Only JDK are out there, and that's enough. We can use JLink tool, which is here for us to generate our custom GRE. This is very nice tool combined with the other tools to create your runtime images for you without redundancies, without taking all the modules, just only your application and what the transitive libraries that you used. And that's it. So your application might end up, instead of having the GDK and GRE even, which include the source of Java, to be like 100 and something, now it could be 30 mega or 50 mega even, or 15, based on your, and with the new port for Linux Slim, your application might end up with like 16 megabyte. Yes, it's super nice. I have a Docker image with all my application packages and the runtime that is really 16 megabyte. So this is a huge reduction and footprint as well for the memory. So what is glink? glink can be used to link a set of modules along with their transitives, so they know, okay, this module depends on this, I will take it into my graph in order to build my runtime, to create a custom modular runtime for my application. So that's it. This is why we don't need GRE anymore. Also, in favor for students, everyone says Java is so verbose, and it has a lot of ceremony for creating and learning and creating application. Like I have to create a class and then public static void main in order to print statement. I didn't see it as it is, but when it comes to teaching, okay, we have to support the new kids coming out there, or the people who's learning in universities, in order to make Java easier, and for us also to explore and learn more about new features quickly, instead of just opening the IDE and trying and compiling and doing all this stuff. So first thing that we have since Java 9, one of my favorite tool that allow me even to give my team an idea what we have to do quickly is JShell, and it's built-in, tool inside our JDK bin folder, and you just invoke it, and you can start doing statement and expression without any kind of things. As you can see, there is no semicolon. You don't have to write a class. You can write expression, and it saves in some variables for you, unless you have a declared variable. So you can definitely use help switch and help shortcut for all the usage. And I have written 2 parts about JShell, so you can have all the features in one place. So go visit it. One thing, if we would like to run our Java application, in all days we have to have a class, and then this class contains the main method, and we have a statement like this: hello Java developer. The steps are, we should compile that class to be with dot class, then we should run this class with Java. So we have Java C to compile, and then have Java. And then we will have this lovely, statement. In the new way, we can run .java with Java immediately. And this is really, since Java 11 was something very nice, and I start to use it even to build my black box testing with some other feature, with shebang feature that we also introduced. I will show it to you. It gave me the capability, yes, one file. I am so expert a little bit, not so much, even if I'm Java champion, but there is too much in Java, you have to know. And I can write, testing, and especially I have now REST API that I can use embedded in my JDK. Then I can use Java, and I can run it as a bash file without writing bash commands and learn about bash and everything. I didn't say that you don't have to learn, but you will be more efficient and faster if you just write your test cases in Java immediately. So in this way, if you can see this part, if we have the previous file using Java 11, we can definitely say Java hello world Java, and it will immediately run this for you. So you don't have to compile it anymore. It's called in-memory compilation, and just produce the file. And it's only work with a single source file. This is the limitation here. You cannot have, but you can include modules. You can include, I have written an article about this. So I have write about the limitation and what you can do actually with this feature. This feature with another feature that will allow you to run Java as a bash file. And we're gonna see this when it comes to API. So let's explore now Java SE language features. And this is how I wanted to give you like how you can learn where the file just run using Java, run the changes, and so you can see everything. You don't have to compile and run, compile and run. So it's very interactive, so fast, and then we can use it in different functionalities. We have, since Java 10, introduced var. And as you can see, var is a synthetic sugar to shorten the way that you declare long statement. Then it also infers the data type from the right-hand side. As you can see here, var, it will be definitely of type name. It will be, the name will be string. If you try to assign different type in that name later on, it will give you a compilation exception because it actually has been created as a string. And then you can see here that last name becomes a string, and it's when it's printed, you can see it. And if you would like to get the type of that last name, what is the type name of that class? It would say it's type Java language string. And if I have something like this list of some numbers, and I did some string calculation, filtration, and I'm trying to for each, you can see that the string, which is the list of the type Java that you tell the stream the reference pipeline with this kind of reference. And then it happens here, the printing. So you can see that just it's synthetic sugar and shorten the way that you declare the variables that other languages provide. And you can read here about the what you can do with var and what you cannot do with var, and the proper way of declaring this var environment. Also, we have enhanced var for Lambda in Java 11. So previously in Lambda, if we were using, we can specify a type, or we can remove the type. Or we can do this. It's useless. It seems useless, like why? I can just provide the type, or I cannot even, I can remove it at all. Why are you introducing var here? Because if we have annotations, annotation require a type, and I don't have to write the bigger type, which is, or the longest one, then I can use var to simplify the statement. This is why we have enhanced that. So do you remember running Java with Java? Here is the complementary, feature that allow me to do stuff. For example, if we have a file like this, which is literally Java, okay, I have to add this line. And since Java, and what the source of this file is using shebang, and then you just write Java like this normally, and name the file. You see, here it is directory lister, but I'm going to save the file in a file name is dir list without any extension even. Then I will convert this file to be executable as with this command. And here is, I can just dot slash the file name, it will run and it will do all the magic for me. So we used in Java to have the content. This file should be named directory list. Do you remember when I told you it's a memory compilation? So when you compile code in the memory, you don't care about the class name because it's not loaded into class loader. And if you would like to have more than one class or function, it should be included in the same source file because all of them are going to be loaded in the memory and will be used. So this is why it doesn't matter what is the name or extension because we don't compile, it's compiled in memory. But I found it literally super nice feature. You can take even these files, throw it in your bin folder, which is the normal, and you can invoke it from anywhere from your operating system as normal bin files or bash files. So lovely feature, which is I like it. So I hope you used it to facilitate and help you streamline your development. Something that you remember when I told you I built my black box testing to test my microservices and the system using Java, because now I have a built-in library that allows me to communicate with WebSockets, communicate with REST endpoints without having third-party libraries. And this is super cool and nice for me because it's standardized inside and would have tremendous feature support also for HTTP2 and a lot of communication, asynchronous communication and sync communication. So I will not mention that so much because I have written an article for this. So for example, here, it was the first introduction of the concept incubation. Incubation, the same like preview feature. I give you the library, but it's meant for APIs. I give the API, the library, the module, and you try it. And it goes under gdk.incubator, the module name. And then it might be also changed in the future or removed if it's not relevant anymore. Or when it comes enhancement, because we reintroduced it in JDK 10. And finally, when the community and everyone agrees there is no more feedback, it goes to production in JDK 11 under the module name java.net.http. So any incubation for any API goes under gdk.incubator. So then the module name, and when it goes to production, it should be moved into its own module name, as you have seen. So it's super easy API. It has only 4 interfaces and support high-level client interfaces like HTTP client, HTTP request, response, and WebSocket. And you can mix all of these with security support and proxying everything. At support version HTTP 1.1 and 2. That's super nice. And if you would like to create, for example, client module, it's super easy. I have HTTP client, a new client, and then I create a request using the builder. And finally, I can communicate asynchronous or synchronous. This is why I have joined here to when I receive, my application will complete. If I would like to work on a WebSocket, same concept. I have to implement the listener that will interact with the server, and then I can use HTTP client to create a new WebSocket using the builder, and I specify WS or WSS, which is Web Secure Socket, and then I provide the new interface that implement the socket listener, and finally I can send my messages using WebSocket instance.send, and finally you can close. So this is how it works. Super easy, and the configuration is really overwhelming because you can control every single aspect of the communication. So it's very rich. Let's come back to one of the oldest switch statement, and sometimes if we would like to define something like this, we have to have all of these kind of cases, and if you forget one time about one break, you will have a nightmare debugging because you have the fail through case and you're debugging, oh my god, I forget about a break. And then we thought about like was like this since the design of the language, and we imported this kind of syntax from C++. And then it was the time to change this. And now the new switch statement since Java 12, it was preview language feature, so you can rewrite it like this. So we don't have to have break anymore, just enough to have the error token, sorry, which is the case label, and then you just assign the value, and then you return. And this is called switch statement. But we can enhance it with switch expression because the switch expression is assignable. So I can immediately remove the variable, which is the Roman value, and just I return the value without even assignment directly from the case like this. And I provide the default here, so it's much more clear, and we will never ever have fail through because we forget break and things like this. And also, if we would like to do multiple comma-separated labels in a single switch statement, because sometimes we can use it like this, but this is less readable and looks awful. I don't like it. So how we can enhance it, man? We can do it like this. If it's case 0, you can do this. If it's case 1, 3, 5, 7, just commas, and you return other, even in the default expression. Super cool. If you'd like to know more about the switch statement expression, please read this article. Let's use yield and switch expression since Java 15. This shows really the power of the feedback from the community, and definitely we change it because previously we can write, if you would like to say, okay, not just I don't want to use the error token, I would like to use the colon like switch statement normally, I have to say please break this value, which is return this value, but it sounds odd. It doesn't make sense, like how I can break a value. It much more makes sense if it's yield the value. Then based on the feedback, we have dropped break and introduced yield based on the community feedback. And really this is how it is. And finally, after there is no more feedback about this preview feature, we have standardized in Java 14. Cool, right? I love it. I wish you loved it also. I start using it everywhere in my code, especially that you can immediately return a type. And by the way, through the Java versions like Java 16 and 17, it get enhanced more and more with pattern, matching. And now switch statement can recognize the cases of inheritance based on the sealed classes, or also which is closed circle that you are permitting or preventing from, and it knows its boundaries, which is nice, so I can use it inside switch statement in the case. So you can check about, the inheritance hierarchy using switch also. Instead, just using instance of with if statement, so you can use switch as we're gonna see it. One of the nicest things that make my SQL queries or GPQL queries more readable, that I use text block, literally. Or if I'd like to embed something inside the code as a JSON message or whatever text related, longer one, or even when I use a Swagger, I would like to give description, long description. Literally text block is the best here. So you can see that from the history that It's first introduced in Java 12, and does it make sense to use Java string? Literal, we dropped it. Then we reintroduced it in Java 13 as a preview feature, and text block has a second preview feature because there were a lot of discussion, and finally text block has been finalized and introduced as a language feature, not preview anymore, in Java 15. And those are the JIPs that has included this. So for example, to show you how it's beautiful not to write such a code as an old school days, which is ugly, and you have to maintain the spaces, and you have to maintain the classes and the new lines and everything. I can now easily rewrite this code in this way. And whenever you have indentation, it will be literally maintained. It's super cool, super clear, and more maintainable and readable. Pattern matching, as I told you, for instance. This is super nice because, as I told you, it simplifies a lot of stuff. And it's going to simplify more and more because we have enhancement over the time for this in Project Ember. So it was in a preview feature in Java 14 and also in Java 15. It is standardized in Java 16, and there is more new enhancement for matching, for pattern matching in Java 17 and 18. So we keep doing stuff. First, we wanted to have, if we have something like this, we check instance of something, then we have to cast, which is unnecessary, but we have to do it in order to access the internal methods of that object, because all of them are from specific type, or else doing something like this. Especially this is very ugly when you use equal methods. And now we can do this. In Java 14 enhancement, we can say if this object instance of the string, which if it's true, it's going to cast implicitly under the hood the object to string and put that casting into str variable, and the str variable is going to be used immediately after the if block. So we don't have to have a casting, and this is nice. And also I can, more complex, I can use it with comparison. So it says if object instance of the string, yes, if it's returned true, cast it to string, and also you would like to check that string is length is greater than 5. So I can use it in both with or and. And this is very nice. This is reducing the overhead number of explicit casting in Java programming. Records, one of my favorite. I used it everywhere. I would like to introduce DTOs, or data carriers only, or projection entities from the GPAQL, or receiving requests from the client and convert it to Java entities or beans. No, why? Because it will never change. We don't intend it to change. We are not intended to change the request coming from the client, so it's better suited to have records, because after creation it will never. It works really well with XML binding, and as well as JSON marshalling and unmarshalling using Jackson. And it's supported now by Spring and also Jakarta E, so it's super nice. I used it whenever I told you the cases is. So it's meant to remove all the heads of creating constructors, accessors, equal method, hash code, toString, as if you are using Lombok. And there's a very good question here. People always ask me, what is the difference between using Lombok and records? Records meant to be only for data carriers, and it will dramatically reduce this, but with Lombok, you can enhance your Java beans because records does not have setters. But if you are looking for entities, which is the domain model for GPA or Hibernate, they have to have setters and getters. So Lombok here playing more role than being record. So you have to identify which cases. So always have it as a, how can I say, like a rule in your mind, records only for data carriers that not wouldn't be changed after the first creation of the data. It's a projection, it's a product type, it's algebraic type, okay? So if we have just class like this, and I would like to make it immutable, so I have to make the instance variable final only declared through the constructor, There is no setters, only getters, and I have to override the clone method. I have to provide equal methods. The constructor, as you can see, toString to give a meaningful, if you would like to print or for debugging. This is a lot of ceremony, which we can just introduce it with record like this. Record point, enter X, that's it. Why I have to create? This is also a way that we trying to reduce the ceremony of creating some most common cases to create DTOs and data carriers in Java, so it's much easier and simpler. And also it really works well with sealed classes. And I'm gonna say why now in a few. So one of the nicest thing that I found came into play in Java 14 is that helpful null pointer exceptions. Null pointer exception, one of the most famous exception that we have in Java, but it was always not meaningful when it comes to the messages. So before, if I have something like this, and A is null, you receive like, yeah, man, you have a null pointer exception in that program in that line. So which one? Is it I or A, or I don't know. And it's more literally worse if you have something like this. You're trying to assign, there is a, how to say, like, with the possibility that A could be null, B could be null, C could be null, and you don't know. If you have received this, you have to debug. But if you enable this, you will receive an exception says, hey, you have an exception, the main program, which is null pointer exception, and cannot read the field C because A.B is null at the program at line 5. It's more meaningful, and you don't have to debug to know which variable of these is literally null. Sealed classes. It has some cases, but lovely. It's allow us to create an authorization on which classes could be inherited or not, and control over this inheritance hierarchy without using the access modifiers anymore. It gives us more flexibility to do this. And it works well with pattern matching, as I told you, in switch cases, because it has boundaries. And also sealed classes work well because when I explain now the cases, you will understand. So for example, if I'm an author of geometry or graphic library, and they would like to define a shape, and the shape has specific rules and constraints, and then I can say, yeah, the shape could be a circle, rectangle, or square. And then we don't have to have any more things. And then, okay, circle could be final because it cannot be extended anymore, and it extends shape. Yes, it will not, give you compiler exception error because it's one of the classes allowed to extend shape. And you can say also, hey, rectangle also could be transparent rectangle or filled. Okay, let me seal this class, which is allowed to extend shape to also introduce more shapes based on rectangle. And definitely, if you would like to close it, you just say final and final classes that extend rectangle. And finally, you can say also, okay, I will allow square to have the implementation of the shape and follow the same pattern and design, but also some other people can extend square to provide their type of square, either it's filled or another different shapes based on this specification. So in this way, we say non-sealed. But it doesn't mean that you can extend shape, because shape defined only permits circle, rectangle, and square, and you cannot extend those because they are final. And also square now, it's only allowed because it's not sealed. Those are the most features. And by the way, sealed classes has been finalized in Java 17, same like pattern matching. So if you migrated to Java 17, you have all the features almost finalized, so you can use all of them. Let's see new language APIs. String class has been enhanced to give repeat. So if I would like to do some repetition for some stuff and concatenate it, so it's like, no, Batman. For example, do you remember Batman, the Lego movie? So it's like, no, like this. Yeah, I don't have to make for loop or something. I can use the repeat function. And now we have is blank. since Java 11. Is blank is very nice one, because previously, if you'd like to check about the emptiness of the string, if we have something like this, and yeah, it will be created, then I have to trim it, check the length. If it's equal 0, it says true, and if we say just is blank, it's true. And you say like, man, I have empty, right? And you feel like, why I have introduced this? Because is blank now is literally doing all of this kind of trimming and the checking the length of the string after trimming, and then just in one statement you can see if this literally string or something fake. We have three: stripe, leading, stripe, trailing, and stripe. They are doing the same exact like trim. There is no big difference. Only in functionality, but the only difference that we have is, let's see this case. If we have this text white spaces, so you have a new line, tab, and Unicode space, and some spaces. And here it is. As you can see, this Unicode is translated in space. And if I just say trim, it will give you text like this. If I say stripe, it will give you text like this. I think that you code what is the usage here of stripe exactly. It's a Unicode aware. So if you have a file and you are reading some entity you would like to trim to make it clearer, be aware that which the data inside that file. If it's normal ASCII, use trim. If it's Unicode, use stripe. So simple. Or you can use stripe for both. Lines return stream. So if I have something like this and it's like ended with new line, you can just say this string dot lines. It's very efficient when you read more file data and you'd like just to split it, and say lines and for each, and then you can print it like 1, 2, 3, 4, and it will convert it into string elements. We have indent for indentation. So if I have something like this and I would like to stream it, yes, and make some indentation, it could also be 5 or -2. What does it mean? It accepts both values, minus and pluses. It means it will identify by 3 spaces only. And then here is the result. We have transform, one of the very nicest function that we can do functionality on the string more than one time in one call. Something like this. I would like to remove first all the asterisks, okay, and then substitute it with remove asterisk with a space, and then I would like to split it based on the spaces, and finally I just transfer it to uppercase. So I can use transform to do, okay, please transform it to uppercase first, then remove all the asterisks with empty text, and then please split them, and finally you will get a string based on what you have done to that. So you have transformation over the text in one call, and it accepts also lambda, means I can define my lambdas, as a functionality and just pass them. It doesn't matter which, order it is. Because text block came into play, we have formatted method. And this is very nice since you would like to have a text block and you would like to substitute. It's like printf, system.out, the printf, you have nice formatting, and then you would like to substitute, or logging using log4j, for example. And then you log, you have the message, and you have substitution variables inside, and you provide the actual variable that hold the values. Then it's gonna be doing like this. So we can do this with text block. So we can use formatted. So I would like to say hello world, and world is variable, hello developer world, whatever it is. Then I can say, okay, formatted world, it will be understood as a first argument, and that's it. This warning will be given because it's still preview feature based on the text block. So in this way, it will be working, but giving you a warning And if you are using Java 13 or 14, if you are using Java 15, it will not give you this warning. Stripe indentation, this is something, if you would like to stripe any indentation, so you can just call it like this, and it will say, okay, full bar, and it will remove all the indentation and give you the values of this. New lines, spaces, whatever it is. Text block preview method continue, we have translate escape, and sometimes I would like to escape specific character. No, I would like a new line to be treated as a new line, is the not to escape. So if this text contain literally new line, yes, it says true, because they are containing, don't consider as a empty string. So escape it and try to equalize it normally. Compact number, this is nice. Now we can represent 1K and 1 million based on the locale of your system. So if you'd like to have this kind of stuff, we can use number format, the compact number instance, providing the locale and the style of your information. So it will give you 10K, 1M, or B, whatever, based on the locale you've given. So there is more about this here. We have teeing. Teeing, this is very nice because it's used with collectors. So if we have a stream like this, and I would like to make like standard deviation in one call, instead of having sum on one side, then I have the variable of the count, then I do the division. No, using teeing, I can have this, I collector the some integers that's here, and then also collector that counting, and both values are going to be assigned to sum and count, and I can just divide and then have the final variable. So teaming is very useful to use more than collector on the same stream in one call. If you are using, binary files, specifically like file, images or sound or something, I'd like to see, like I'm trying to compare or see duplicate files, you can use now, compare them using file.mismatch, and you give the pass. It will compare each and single byte inside as a binary content, and it will return true only. It will compare all bytes and return -1 if it matched. Otherwise, it will return the location of the first mismatched byte. So it's very useful for comparing and checking for the duplicate files, specifically for binary files. So we have re-implemented all the legacy sockets API. Why we are doing this? In favor of Project Loom, because Loom will introduce virtual threads and it will enhance the concurrency module. This is why also we have to rewrite all the communication and legacy API that use all threading module and pooling to use the virtual threading, which was Fiber. And this is very, very, very important to enhance the communication and the concurrency API. And to prepare the GDK, once we introduce Loom, it's already, all the APIs are ready for this migration easily. Security and some other improvements. And one of them, to be honest, when I'm developing Docker image and I would like to have some improvement, it was really annoying that sometimes I get run out of memory. Why? While I'm providing, and it accepts the memory and it runs, and suddenly my application goes off. Why? Because before, and GDK 8 and 9, the problem is when the JVM trying to query how much memory do I have inside the Docker, it doesn't, query the Docker, it query the host operating system. So if you are running in Docker and you're specifying for Docker image to use like 4 gig of memory, and then your application is would like to ask, do I have more free memory? Because it needs to move to acquire more, it will ask the operating system that hosting the Docker image, and this operating system has 16 gigabyte, for example. Then yeah, I have 16, I will increase my heap, and suddenly it will try to increase, but it's inside the Docker, then out of memory. Like, why it happens? Like, it's a crazy, why you're trying to do this? Because it's query operating system, and it's been enhanced in Java 10, that Java is able to detect containers, query container instead of host operating system, and it allows us also to do something amazing. I can remotely debug and attach Java processes inside the JVM, inside the Docker image. And for now, it works only for Linux and Docker on Linux. And you can use also these kind of flags for JVM to control the maximum RAM percentage and also initial RAM percentage and minimum RAM percentage and the active processors count also to control the JVM inside the container. Garbage collector, you know that we start since Java 9, the first garbage collector G1 GC was the mode for the default GC, and this is the feature of that. And then in Java 9, it was serial full GC. In Java 10, it introduced the full parallel full GC, and you can also enable it using this kind of flag. In Java 11, GC enhanced it to be more faster by 60% than the previous. This is why when you just migrate, you will have a lot of speed out of the box without any kind of tweaking. In Java 12, we have improving G1 GC to a portable mixed collections for G1 and also promptly return unused committed memory from garbage collector, so I don't have to wait for a specific period in order to return the whole memory has been reclaimed and a garbage collected. No, once it's garbage collected, any memory fragment will going to be returned to the system immediately, which provide more efficiency. We have also introduced some new garbage collections like Epsilon GC. It was experimental and now it came into production, but actually Epsilon does nothing. You know, it doesn't have any effect on the JVM. Literally does nothing. Like one guy asked me, like, why have to use it? Why have bother yourself to build something like this? Yeah, I have to have something like this in cases of embedded systems and IoT. I would like to see how my memory is behaved outside of the garbage collection. I don't want to the effect of the garbage collector, but JVM cannot run without garbage collector. So this is why we have to fake it and say, hey, this is a garbage collection which does nothing, but because you need it, and then you can measure how your memory and tweak it. This is, in such cases, you use Epsilon for this. It's more memory sensitive operations and tweaking. JZC, this is one of the greatest also garbage collection that keep both time under 10 milliseconds. No pause increases when the heap increases. It's a scale to multi-terabyte heap. And if you're reading files, you're using like things like this, it deals with multi-terabyte heaps. You know, if you are using big data or something, this is the best garbage collection here. And we have in Java 14, the version of ZGC on Mac OS. And also in Java 17, we have Shenandoah GC, and it was literally the first garbage collection implemented and brought to the JVM outside of Oracle. It's brought by Red Hat. And then also there is enhancement to ZGC, how the memory is unused memory get back to the operating system. And also in Java 15, ZGC garbage collection and Shenandoah came into production, and they are standardized so you can use them. They are not experimental anymore. Security improvement so we have introduced support for TLS 1.3. We also have JDK now support this, although this does not extend to datagram transport layer to support, but it has been supported in Java 17, and also we have removed the old implementation of TLS to not be used anymore. And also Java 15 introduced a new cryptography algorithm, Edward Curve digital signature algorithms, as described by RFC 1832. And let's say now we have learned about bunch of APIs and tools and garbage collection and security improvement and all of that stuff. And even there is in Java 17 a lot of introduction to memory enhancement, like elastic meta space, foreign memory API, and foreign linker API, which will introduce memory enhancement and reading native code more faster and efficient than before. You will get a lot of enhancement for this. So now it's time to migrate. So let's know about some things that, new things that we have learned to came. These things have to go goodbye. So why I should know about them? Because I told you migration. So we have some removed methods since Java 11 literally remove, destroy, and stop. So if you are relying on them, they will give you compilation error. There is no more methods like that. System and runtime, run finalizer on exit has been removed. Security manager, those are removed, and security manager in the recent version of Java has been removed completely. Java 12 file input stream and file output stream, we have removed finalize and stop from them. Security warning, this class in GWT is removed completely. In AWT, removed enterprise API from Java like Java SE.EE, related modules like Corba, transaction, activation, XML binding, XML WS, web services, and annotations has been removed to different libraries so we can use it. It's not part of the GDK anymore, and it's used by different libraries. So if you are relying on XML binding and serialization and web services, those are not going to be introduced. You have to bring them from Maven. Java FX has gone. There is no more Java FX. I'm kidding. They exist, but you have to include them as a separate SDK because not everyone using them, it's not efficient to have them. Normally, they have their own maintained library out there, and you can include them through Maven like this. Removed and deprecated technologies and tools. We have removed this policy tool from Java. Since Java 10, we have removed Java heap since Java 10 and introduced as a flag with Java C. We have removed this exit-proof flag in order to favor to use JMap and Visual VM. And also we have deprecated and removed Java applets. Java is still supported in Java 8. Java Web Start has been removed, so you can use Glink to repackage and JPackager to package your application and tools. Nashorn engine has been deprecated and it's removed in JDK 16 because you can use GraalJS with GraalVM, so you don't have to have this inside GDK. Package tool, silent tools has been removed. You can use Glink and JPackager. And finally, Nashorn engine, it was deprecated and it's removed in Java 15, sorry, not 16, because as I told you, you can use GraalVM. RMI activation Java 15 has been deprecated because it's old, technology. So if you rely on it heavily, you cannot use it anymore. Some, and last part, more important tools. Now the micro benchmarking, it's available since Java 12 and it's open source. The benchmarking has been used and still being used by the GDK itself to make the performance measurement, for all the mathematical and algorithms inside the GDK, and we can use it to do this. It's not for system performance testing. It's meant for algorithms performance testing. So if you have multiple implementation of the same algorithm and you would like to see which one of these could run on this infrastructure efficiently, you can use these tools. If it's your system as a whole, no, you can use JMeter and some other stuff to benchmark your whole system. So some examples, so you can use it like this. It's part of Orbit OpenGDK, and you can use the annotations and you can benchmark it so you can see how it works and you will get statistics about that. We have also open sourced, or not open sourced Visual VM, and it's all-in-one Java troubleshooting tools since Java 11. Visual VM is a visual tool integrated command line with GDK tools and lightweight profiling capabilities designed for both development and production. So you can use them to profile your application while it's running in development or even production, and it will not interrupt the GVM or make overhead. Sorry. and you can download it from here. The last part is flight recorder. This is very important and very nice tool that you can program the data collection for the GVM based on the triggers or events inside the GVM node for monitoring and producing event based on the interaction or memory or something like this. So prior to Java 11, flight recorder actually was a commercial feature in Oracle JDK binary, and Oracle is eliminating the functional difference between the Oracle JDK and one built from OpenJDK source code. This is why this feature open sourced it to the OpenJDK through this check. Finally, I would like to say the presentation and slide and code is on my GitHub account, but I will share it with you guys on my Twitter account. And thank you very much for your attendance, and I hope you find this is useful presentation. Please, if you have questions, you are welcome. Leo is here to help me.
Yeah, I went through some of the questions while you were talking, so I think some there were already answered. But I think we can highlight two. So I had it here. Oh shoot! Sorry, I didn't write them down. I'm going to...
No problem. I'm here with you, man.
Yeah, so I think one of this one, like, will you have different GREs for every application in your machine? So I answered that, yeah, that is expected, that you go with the JLink to create the GRE and go with...
Exactly. There is no more GRE. You know, we have mentioned that. There is no more GRE in the... Yeah,
exactly.
Just show this one so people can... So, yeah. There is no more GRE, so if you would like, it's not for each machine because you have one JDK already installed, and if you would like to package your application, even from Jenkins or wherever it is, you can use JPackager or JLink just to create your runtime environment. It will be ready to run on any platform. That doesn't matter. It's a GRE.
Yeah. Yep. So this question is about when you are running JavaScript, sorry, not JavaScript, Java as a script. So from the command line. So can you reference dependencies from the file? I think you mentioned modules, but I don't know if
modules,
like
yes, because
class
they are
path or
You cannot use like jar files because there is no class path. It's in-memory compilation, but modules already exist inside the JDK. It will be part of the JVM runtime, which compile your code in memory and run it. This is why modules are available.
Okay. Also, there is this one that says, if you get time, explain why Java 17 restriction is lifted on having. I didn't even know like they did that. So do you know exactly what they mean? Like I wouldn't know how to answer that.
Inside the inner classes, non-static inner restriction was lifted on having static members inside inner classes. Non-static inner classes. I didn't get the question exactly.
Yeah, so I think before Java 16, you can have static members inside the inner class. That is correct. So I remember trying to use that. I don't have 17 in my machine, so I could not test if what he's saying is correct or not. But
no,
I wouldn't know.
Members, you can have static members anywhere, but you cannot access them from outside static methods. They have been because they are class variables. It's not instance variable anymore, but you can have it in any class static but I didn't. Maybe I have to get back to this, and I can. You can ask me on Twitter, and I will answer you with really proper answer.
Yeah, another one for the record. So when you were talking about Lombok, they mentioned about being the same as add data, but I think data, if I recall correctly, does use set. They have setters. So I responded. Sorry, that's another one. So I responded that data law fermentations of objects value would be a closer match to record. Is this correct?
Yes, because as I told you, when you create a record, it's first under the hood, it's final class. Okay, so this is why I said like record is a very good candidate in sealed, because by default it's final. Since it's final, it cannot be extended, and also all the variables inside, since it has also constructor implicitly when we write it that way, you cannot reassign the values again. So there is no set, or even the syntax, there is no get X or get Y. It's X and Y.
Exactly. Yeah. We're trying
Immediately.
to just say just the image in the head. So if you're used to Lombok, value would be the closer
Lombok,
match,
I
but it's not
usually
exactly the same.
exactly.
Yeah.
No, because Lombok just shortcut to introduce, to give you the setters and getters and toString and everything. And also you have to be careful when you use it with entities, because of toString, it might be, generated, and there is a circular dependencies will be inside. So sometimes on entities, it's not like efficient to use at data. You have to use at setters, at getters, at constructor, no other constructor, and toString, and exclude what you don't want to have, to not introduce circular dependencies inside. And this is one of the biggest problem I face with my team sometimes, and they found it, and the solution was like this.
Yeah, there are some other great questions, but I think it would like take some time. Like if Swing, this question says why. I don't know if Swing is still there. If it is, like why it is still there.
It's still out there. Like,
so I don't know if there's a simple why answer. Is there?
It's robust, GUI platform, and it could be used for building quickly, any kind of.
No, I love Swing. Like that.
So they are exist and they are robust and stable. So why to remove it?
Well, you could say a lot of things were removed were also stable, but I think there might be some other reasoning that at least I'm.
There is a lot of people still using Swing, and there is a lot of applications still, running. So we cannot remove it because the usability, the people use.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess one of the meetings, Oracle people that like I think it was Brian that shared that they have a lot of research to see what they use and what the people are using before marking things for deprecation and even removal.
Exactly.
So it's not that simple, and that's kind of ties into another question. Someone said, "Oh, why don't we get Lombok into the Java SDK?" And I said, "Well, that's a very hard life cycle to be part of the Java core. So I think there are times and times. So for fast and furious things, it's better to be outside. You go and evolve." And you prove your use cases, and you build a community where they can try it all out. Then, when the time is right, the best will be taken to the...
Exactly, same like var, same like records. For some certain common cases that it could be allowed inside GDK, because if we're trying to get everything, GDK will be so customized to all these libraries, But something like the java.net HTTP client, we found that, yes, it's one of the most frequent used API to communicate to REST and WebSocket. It should be standard. Now in Java 17, 18, for example, we have web server. We have simple web server that you just run on the context of any HTML or something. It will bring all the content up and running. And you can do some, quick, you have HTTP server inside it. Things like this, it might be useful. Let's include it. There is a way for mission control to automatically reconnect to a remote GVM to continuously monitor it. I think mission control, I remember this since,
or Visual VM, I think it does that. Yeah, it does that, as far as I remember.
Yes, Visual VM now doing the recent versions, I think.
Yeah, so I think there is. So from my experience, what I remember when I had it used to, there might be a problem when it tries to reconnect and then it doesn't, but maybe it was only my experience. So there are some other budge questions. So just to go back to really, is there more people using Swing than JavaFX? I would say so.
There is.
Especially because Swing is part of the JDK and JavaFX is .dot. So maybe only that is reason enough to have people going for Swing. Anyways, there's a bunch of other good questions. I don't know how long you can continue to do this. I would suggest people to reach out to...
Yeah, this is a very good question. Record class, could be enhanced with relative some more methods. And we have two types of constructors here, canonical and compact. And that's the way this you like to check about the variable before they get assigned initially. So you can have canonical. And compact means, no, I just want to do the check and throw exception if something happened. So yeah, we can enhance the constructor at compile time, definitely. And add some more methods. It's finally class, like no problem at all.
Last one, because I know that you may have to go. So can the record class I think, I don't know if this is the same or
it is already, because when you
yeah.
write the sentence, you have to write the construct record, construct name, then open braces, and you specify this is the default constructor for you.
Okay, guys, again, guys and girls, we would like you to reach out to Mohamed at Taman on Twitter or LinkedIn or GitHub or anywhere. You can see his links. He is more than helpful, and he's more than willing to answer your questions. And
But he likes because
no. Let me finish boasting you. So he also likes to write articles. So maybe your idea could be a good article idea that he can write and share with you if it's something that requires more in depth. So, do you like anything? Say any parting words, Mohamed?
No, the last question, because I answered different thing. The default constructor cannot be exist inside record because it's meant to hold data. It's not like entity. I created and reassigned. So there is no ability to reassign data later. So it should be created with default constructor, which contain the argument.
Okay. So with that, thank you guys and girls for showing up. Thank you, Mohamed, for the great talk, and hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions, reach out. And that's it. I'm gonna end.
You have 4 days, guys, and there is
enjoy
amazing talks from Java peers and fellow Java champion. Thank you, Leonardo, for moderating this and bringing these lovely questions. And thanks for everyone attending this session. See you later on in different conferences. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your evening, Leo, and see you
soon.
Ciao, ciao. Hola.